The other thing I want to make sure we have is right now the birth, it's a constant value and it's starting at frame 1. What we're going to do is we're going to have a parameter that allows us to not only randomize, so we'll start by randomizing the amount. Let's do that first. So we'll fit 0, 1, and we'll fit a random number calculated based on the frame. That's what I'm writing. Okay, fit 0, 1, random based on frame. This will return a random number from 0 to 1 for each frame, and we'll say that it's gonna have a variation between 250 and 1000. Okay, so now we have a random, we don't have a constant birth rate. We have the constant birth rate value will be changing on each frame. The other thing that we want is we would like to have the ability to control when we start emitting and when we stop emitting. So imagine that when the thunderbolt actually hits the surface, it kind of throws a lot of particles, and then it continues to throw sparks, but not as much. So we'll create an additional parameter here that will allow us to easily do that kind of animation. We can add as many, we can customize the user interface for everything by coming here, edit parameter interface, and let's say we want to add right after the constant birth rate. Okay, constant birth rate. Right after this, let's create a float. Let's add a float, and we'll call this emit molt. Apply, accept, and then when we go to birth, now we have this emit multiplier. Let's animate the multiplier. Whenever you want to move the time slider and not having to worry about the simulation happening or not happening, you can either disable the dynamics calculations here, and you can also use this. This will automatically update this whenever you change something on the time slider. But if you disable this, if you switch this to manual, the viewport nothing's going to happen when you move the time slider. Okay, as you can see, nothing's happening. So let's say at frame 5, we have this at 0. I'm gonna create a keyframe for this parameter right here using Alt and clicking. It's a way of adding a quick way of adding a keyframe here. Next, we'll move on to frame 6, and we'll say that at frame 6, we'll have another keyframe with a value of 15. And then let's say around 9 or 10, we set another keyframe, and this comes back to 5. Now, this won't be doing anything because this is just a parameter, but what we can do is multiply the constant birth rate that we have by this parameter. Okay, we can copy parameter, go here, times base relative reference, and we'll have that reference. And now we'll have different values. Let's turn everything back on. Okay, now we have that explosion in the beginning, and then they continue to emit. So this is looking good. This is a good starting point. We can have a look at this with Iron Man being displayed as well, so that we can have an idea of how this is coming together. Okay, seems we're on the right track.